Hi, welcome to Community Hotline. My name is Monica Weitzel. We're here in Gresham at MetroEast Community Media. We have a full show tonight. We're going to start off talking with Daniel Robertson, who is with the Nutz and Boltz Theater Company from Boring, Oregon.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. Nice to have you here.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Thanks. So you are involved with the Nutz and Boltz Theater, have been for a few years now, you said?
Yes. I first discovered them about 2 years ago and acted in some of their productions out there.
Fun. It's a fun group, isn't it?
It really is, and they really know what they're doing out there.
Good. Yeah, so Kelly and Justin Lazenby, a husband and wife team,
yes.
they're the founders of that.
Yes.
Of that.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about Nutz and Boltz and what it's like to be part of that family.
Well, one of the things that's really interesting about it, and the thing that I discovered right away is, you know, even though it's out in the provinces, so to speak, that Kelly and Justin really know what they're doing, and they have very high standards.
They're professionals.
They act very professionally, and they expect that of the people that are associated with their productions as well. And naturally, I sort of glommed onto that because that's the way I like to work as well. So, plus I live in Gresham, and they're close, and that was a factor certainly. And they do the kind of theater that I like to do.
So, when you say they do the kind of theater you like to do, what is that?
How
would you describe that?
A mixture of classics and wacky things. For example, and Kelly writes some of the plays. The first production that I was in at Nutz and Boltz was a show that Kelly wrote called The Villain of Virtue. It was a medieval melodrama.
Oh, I bet that was fun.
And,
was it the mustache twisting?
Not me.
No,
I was the ruined Duke. But
I can see that. Yeah.
Thank you. Which part, the ruined or the Duke?
Both.
But that was a lot of fun, and so I just kind of gravitated toward them just because, you know, their standards are like mine, and
they're high.
I enjoy what they do out there.
Have you done a lot of community theater elsewhere?
Yes.
Yes.
This year mostly, it's been kind of a Shakespeare year for me.
Oh, really?
I've done 3 shows at the Post 5 Theater Company which is now in Selwood.
Okay, I've never been there.
They just moved there last year, I believe, and I also did a show at Nutz and Boltz earlier this year.
And what was that one?
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are Dead by Tom Stoppard.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
It is.
That sounds like fun. Yeah, I've always enjoyed having Kelly and Justin here on the set, and sometimes they've acted out a few scenes for us, and they're very fun people, and you're right, they are very professional. So the play that they have coming up now that starts in October, I believe, is See How They Run.
Yes.
And so what can you tell me about that, Daniel?
Well, See How They Run is a classic British farce.
Okay.
And and Kelly asked me to direct it, and I agreed, and I had some experience with it in the past.
Had you acted in it before?
Yes, I have.
Ah, okay.
And it's classic in the sense that lots of things are going on. You've got people chasing other people through the living room of the house, the vicarage. You've got mistaken identities. You've got people who don't know who other people are. You've got an escaped Russian spy who shows up and wants to disguise himself and get out of town, as it were. You've got a local Cockney constable who comes in and tries to sort everything out.
Some very fun characters, it sounds like.
Oh, yes, absolutely. You've got the village busybody who has never touched a drop of alcohol, little foreshadowing, who is scandalized by the fact that the vicar's wife actually wears trousers in public.
Oh, well, that is scandalous.
So,
sounds like a slapstick British style.
Yes.
Because they do have a totally different style of humor.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They've got, one style that's very, very sedate and very subtle, and another style that's very wacky, Benny Hill type.
Yeah, right.
And this is kind of a combination of the two at one time or another. So
that sounds like fun. So you've acted in it before. Have you
Yes.
ever actually seen this play not being in it? Not being
that I have not.
Should be interesting.
So, and that's probably a good thing. Because I know there's a movie version of it somewhere, but if I'm directing or even acting in something, I try not to see.
I think that would be very difficult. I've
Yes.
often wondered about that for actors and directors. If you have already seen either a movie or a play and then you try to do it yourself, trying to separate that and find your own version of it, that would be difficult. How do you even do that?
Finding your own version.
Yeah,
of it?
how do you find what feels right to you? And
Well, you go back to the script. You know, what is your character like? How are they described, both in the stage directions, and more importantly, how do the other characters, what do they say about your character, and how do they respond, and how does your character respond?
And do you try to stay pretty close to the original script, the intentions of the writer?
I do.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a better writer than Philip King, who wrote See How They Run.
Okay.
And so there are some adjustments almost always to be made. And so we have tweaked it in very, very tiny places.
What's the most challenging thing about directing a play?
The most challenging thing, I think, is making sure that all of the pieces come together.
Okay, just the big picture.
The big picture.
The little details that make up the big picture.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you can work with actors on their characterization and whether those are appropriate. But on balance, you have to be alert for things like, can they be seen? Can they be heard? And those are
That's a big deal.
more important.
That's
a
a
little
big
bit.
deal, yeah.
You can have the best character in the world, but if you can't be seen or heard, then you have to deal with that at one time or another. And then, of course, sound and lights and everything like that. We're just getting into that phase now.
So how does that work for you? They're in a Grange Hall, correct?
Yes.
Is that right? So how is their setup as far as lights and being seen and just the whole setup? Is it?
Usually that's not a problem. Sometimes the acoustics are a little bit of a problem. The last show I did, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, all the lights went out during one performance.
Well, great.
And so
what do you do then?
fortunately it was a matinee, so we all stepped down the stage and changed where our entrances were and used the light coming in from the windows to finish the show. So
Wow.
there's always an adventure of one
The show
kind
must
or
go
another.
on, huh?
That's right.
That's fun. Actually, that would be it would be very memorable. Nobody would forget that, would they? Yeah.
That's correct.
So what are some of the things that you remember best about some plays you've been in? Have there been any really odd things that have happened like that?
The most unusual experience I think I had was I was performing in downtown Portland in a stage version of The Hound of the Baskervilles, the Sherlock Holmes story. And a minute or two into a performance one night, all of our lights went out. This is kind of a theme. Somebody had hit a substation or whatever. And so the fellow who ran the theater ran out and got a whole bunch of candles.
Seriously?
And we put candles all around the set.
Wow.
It's a good thing the fire
I was
marshal
going to say,
wasn't
I
in
bet that
attendance.
wasn't.
And so we did the rest of the show of Hound of the Baskervilles by candlelight.
Wow.
And it was actually very, very cool.
I bet it was. Well, that's got that kind of mysterious sort of feel about it anyway, so that probably just added to it. There are probably people who thought you planned it.
Wouldn't want to make a steady diet of it.
No, that would be that would be difficult. But that's interesting, yeah.
In fact, I just recently I did a show last year with a fellow that I hadn't seen since we did that production, and we reminisced about
remember
that
when
adventure. Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, how fun! How fun! So, do you like acting better or directing, or is it kind of a toss-up?
In general, I like acting better.
Yeah.
Just because it's what I've done the most of.
So you feel
And
more comfortable.
I enjoy creating the character from the raw material, of the script. Directing, I think, in many ways is more ultimately satisfying because it's more satisfying when you come together and have a successful production as a group. In many ways, it's like a sports team.
Sure, that makes sense. Yeah.
You know, if you are the most fantastic athlete on the field, but you lose,
right,
it's always a little bit, less of a thrill.
Right. So even if you're this great actor and you pull off your part beautifully, if everybody else just kind of fails and goes flat, then then yeah, that wouldn't be very satisfying at all.
And if you're standing above everybody else in the show as an actor, then that's not what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and it probably isn't appreciated by the others as well. But as a director, if you can pull it off, then
Yes.
you know, and it's a success, then a lot of that goes back to you because you have to take care of all those details.
And especially in this case with See How They Run, my biggest thrill as a director will be laughter from the audience.
Of course, yes.
So
Yeah, I would find that really difficult. That's one of the reasons I think stand-up comedy would be so horribly difficult, just to be able to stand up there and put yourself out there and then
Yes.
maybe not get the laughs, because that's what it's all about. But yeah, if you get the laughs where they're supposed to be and you get the tears where they're supposed to be and those kind of reactions, then you know you've succeeded in a good production.
And you know, what a lot of people don't know is that that's very different every night. You can have a particular line as an actor that gets a laugh almost every single night, and then one night
It just doesn't.
it won't happen.
I wonder why that's like that. Who knows?
Could be atmosphere, could be what people did that day before they came to the theater, nuances of delivery, you know,
Right. Could be a lot of things.
a bunch of things, yeah.
Interesting. So at Nutz and Boltz, they about how many performances do they do a year? Do you know?
They usually
or
do
different shows.
four, counting the Very Boring Christmas, which is coming up in December. They do 4 or 5 shows.
Okay.
Usually, in the summer they have a children's theater workshop there, and they do a show associated with that.
I remember that they have the children's workshop, and I believe they're quite good at working with the kids.
Yeah.
Are they not? So I wonder if that's something that's open to just about anybody. Do they have to? I wonder if they have to audition for that.
That I'm not sure about. So.
We'll have to get them on sometime to ask about that. So you mentioned A Very Boring Christmas.
Yes.
So that is, which is pretty funny considering they're in Boring, Oregon. So that is one that was written by Kelly, is that right? Or do you think it was?
I think it's a mixture.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure.
Maybe
if
like
it's, I'm not sure if it's all original or if there are
elements of
little
it.
oleos and scenes or whatever that are not original with them. But
I do remember the one year they had a Dickens Christmas tale that they kind of changed and modified and made it their own, and they're quite good at doing that. So
yes, I haven't heard the details on this one yet.
so that'll be something we can look forward to. That'll be in December. Yeah, it's December 11th, 12th, and 13th is a Very Boring Christmas, but I understand there's Santa Claus, there are going to be raffle prizes, there's live music, so it's going to be full of a lot of things.
Yes.
Probably a good thing to take the kids to, or the grandkids.
It's more of a Christmas event.
Right. That'll be fun.
know,
Yeah.
Sort of like the Christmas version of a farmer's market.
There you go. that works. So See How They Run, that is opening October 9th.
October 9th.
And what can you tell me about when is that going to be? Is it just weekends?
It plays through October 25th and shows Fridays and Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. and Sunday matinees at 3 p.m.
Okay. And is it a family-friendly show?
Yes, it is.
You can take the kids.
Absolutely.
And would they get it?
In fact, the Lazenby's daughter's been chuckling in the audience when we've been
Good. I've met her before. She's a doll. She
Yes,
came and
she
did
is.
something here for us one time.
So I thought, oh, good. You know?
Yeah. Well, if you get the kids laughing, then you know you're a success. So, what are you looking forward to most when this is done? I know you're saying you want to hear the laughter. Will you be happy when it's over? Or is it that kind of feeling when you get done directing a show and the run is over?
It's always a mixed bag. It's always a combination of it's a relief and a shame at the same time.
It's a shame, darn it, it's over, and
you know, because it's done, it's over,
right,
and presumably successful, you know, and everything. But then ordinarily you have a little bit of time, more time on your hands.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
but yeah, it would be. I can see that because you look forward to it, you anticipate it, you're working up to it, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's done.
Yeah.
It's like kids in Christmas time. They
Yes.
they can't wait. They're so excited, and then all of a sudden, it's over.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I know that we have a poster that you provided about the Nutz and Boltz, and even the poster is kind of fun. So I know they'll show that on the screen. But so this is going to open on October 9th. Can they get tickets online? Do you know, or do they have to be there?
They can go to the website, which is nnbtheater.
nnbtheater.com. Yeah.
And or they can order tickets by phone,
Okay.
503-593-1295.
Oh, you got it
I
down.
believe.
Yeah, that's
So-
right. Yeah, good. Okay, so you encourage people to come out and check it out?
Absolutely. There's nothing like a good audience for a comedy.
All right. Well, it
And
sounds like
so-
a lot of fun. And people can go out there early. They can go have dinner somewhere in Sandy and
Yes.
or in Boring and check it out. Kind of out there a little bit more in the country, but a very high professional standard of
And they've
theater.
got a few concessions at the theater.
Oh, okay.
Their large chocolate chip cookies are really good.
Ooh, that sounds good right now.
I know, I usually have one before a show I do out there. So
It's for good luck, right? You just
No.
have to do it for good luck. No?
No,
Just
I like the
'cause you
cookies.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Danielle. I
Thank you
appreciate you
for
being
having
on
me.
here. So if you have some time in October on the weekend, I suggest you go check it out. This is the Nutz and Boltz Theater Company in Boring. You can see how they run. And don't go away. We'll be right back with more of Community Hotline.
Was more than I ever would have dreamed of doing.
This is a community media station.
It was phenomenal.
Ready, camera one.
What is it about this place that makes so many different people come together?
Ready, camera two.
Very professional, experienced people.
You can use these industry standard pieces of equipment.
Ready, camera three. Take three.
You don't have to be rich to do this.
Open people's eyes to something they've never even thought of before.
Cool stuff happens. It becomes this community.
That's going to really change who's telling the stories and who's controlling the messaging.